What is up, fellow bench warmers? Welcome to your daily Fantasy Quickie. What is up, guys? Welcome to a lazy Saturday afternoon and or evening. Hope you are doing well. Another day, another quickie. 10 games late today. And lots of injuries as well. But some minor news first. Isaiah Thomas signs with the Pelicans. 10-day contract.
We talked about Isaiah Thomas before. Someone to watch out for that wants to come back to the NBA, to go back to the NBA. And I was surprised it was the Pelicans, but I guess that may have something to do with Lonzo Ball's injury because Lonzo has said that he doesn't want to play through it because it's painful and doesn't make sense for him. So it might be a while before we see him. So Isaiah Thomas might be the insurance policy for the Pelicans.
Well, this is another 10-day contract. And
yes,
as with 10-day contract, nothing's really guaranteed. Even the playing time is not guaranteed. So how do we see things here moving forward for the Pelicans? Eric Bledsoe has been playing quite well.
But the Pelicans don't have any player anymore. Yeah, we'll talk about the added injuries to the Pelicans aside from Lonzo Ball. But so I think for the short term, Isaiah Thomas will be a primary backup point guard. I think with Kyra Lewis, they're probably gonna play together in a small backcourt. So I can add because I think he's gonna play already on Monday. I think Manila time, he's gonna play their next game. Unlike DeMarcus Cousins, which is still floating. I mean, no new news after that 10-day thing that they're negotiating. Isaiah Thomas will actually play already, and I want to see what he can do. I have a feeling that he's really healthy. That he has gotten.
He actually played for the US qualifiers, right?
Yes, and he played well. And he said that this is the first time he felt good. So I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt and add
someone to watch out for, especially in a season where so far lots of injuries, lots of rest going on, and you can already see some teams releasing the grip on that playoff hopes, right? And some teams are really bidding their seasons goodbye as early as now. So they have been resting some of their core players and letting the young players do their thing. Another signing, is it Norvel Pell?
Yeah, Norvel Pell. I think Norvel Pell and I know the third name. It's Pell.
Yeah.
Let
me double check on the name. Yeah.
He
signed with the Knicks.
He played for the Nets early this season, and of course he didn't do much. He signed with the Knicks. He was chosen over John Henson, who I would have loved more for the Knicks if they chose John Henson. But Pell, basically as an introduction to our listeners who are not that familiar with him, he's a great shot blocker. That's what he does. As I said, can he overtake Taj Gibson and Nerlens Noel? I don't think so.
Probably not.
But if he can get 15 minutes a night, in some nights, well, Noel's not been playing very well either. So I think if they could get him 15 minutes, maybe there will be some nights he could be a streamer for blocks.
That's it.
Although, that's it for Noel.
And Taj Gibson has been playing quite well off the bench, right? So
yes,
probably he won't. Let's see if he can, extend or maybe eventually sign with the Pelicans, with the Knicks, as well as Isaiah Thomas. Hopefully, let's see if he can sign long term or at least a deal for the rest of the season. With the Pelicans and the Knicks, respectively. All right, injury updates, players. Hopefully, you don't own these players. I own a couple of these players. Gordon Hayward injured again. That means more Terry Rozier.
That means more Terry Rozier, more Devontae Graham, more usage for him, and then Probably Miles Bridges. That's what I said. Miles Bridges and Brad Wanamaker. These two are the players you could add. Brad Wanamaker got 30 minutes today. So I think with 13 points for assists, he can easily do that. He can easily recreate those stats with Gordon Hayward out. Talking about Gordon Hayward, it's a sprained foot. So it's
Does
similar
it seem
to,
like a long-term injury or?
It's similar to CJ McCollum's injury, but CJ McCollum... No, it was similar to CJ McCollum's original injury or original diagnosis, which is sprained foot, which is not a sprained ankle. So that one is longer a little bit. So maybe a couple of weeks is possible. Pending news, of course, pending the MRI or pending all those things. We know Gordon Hayward's foot is not necessarily the
healthiest,
the best foot,
the best out there. And of course, we all know that Gordon Hayward is one of those fragile players that
you own. Gordon Hayward?
No, not okay. Hayward. Luckily, and I own Terry Rozier in one of the leagues.
Yes,
I really wanted to win, so let's see. Hopefully that
maybe Miles Bridges is available in your leagues. Possibly in 12-team leagues or 10-team leagues. I think he should be an ad right now.
All right. So Miles Bridges, an ad for the Gordon Hayward injury. Let's wait for what happens there. Josh Hart, we were just talking about him yesterday. He had a good game, another good game today, but he injured his thumb.
He didn't play today.
Oh, was that yesterday? No, wait.
Yeah, yesterday. Yesterday he played the 17 rebound game was yesterday.
All right, yeah.
Today, he apparently injured his thumb yesterday while rebounding those balls. Just doing too much rebounding. And the injury, I have researched, is the torn UCL in the thumb, which needs surgery, which would
so that means he's probably out for the
season. 3 to 4 months. That's what I saw. Previously, it's been 3 to 4 months. There's only 1 month left in the season, so I guess that's it for him.
That's already a lost season for Josh Hart. Unfortunately, he was playing really well over the past few weeks, and
he played very well. I mean, such a bad
really well. So very unfortunate. We'll talk about some beneficiaries of his injury in a bit, but let's talk about
Zion is also out. I'll just add to the Pelicans injury. Ingram didn't play also. Zion did not play. And the injuries of the Pelicans are frustrating because it's the two popular injuries, the thumb and the toe.
That's the popular trend these days. Either the thumb or any of the fingers or the
toes. It's
toes.
actually not even just a finger, it's a thumb and the toe. So it's weird what's happening in the NBA right now.
Sabonis also got injured.
Sabonis got injured with a sprained ankle, and he already is dealing with a calf injury. So this is bad because usually Sabonis will not want to miss a game or not play through an injury, but he was in extreme pain in the sidelines. But he was trying to come back. That's the good news. He was trying to come back, but he could not, and they did not allow him, which is the bad news.
Well, at least the good news is it doesn't seem like an injury that would sideline him for the rest of the season. I think
no, don't say that.
He's gonna be ready for the fantasy playoffs. Another player. These are two players I own, Fred VanVleet and Steph Curry, on the same team. So this is going to be frustrating for me, and that's a team wherein I am currently 7th or 8th. So I'm fighting for that last playoff spot, and this couldn't come at a very bad time because I'm up in that league so far for this week, but I could easily be down or I could easily lose it by Monday. So Fred VanVleet.
I'll start with Steph because that's the minor one.
Steph is the tailbone injury, right?
Yeah, he aggravated it because he took a charge and he fell again on that same tailbone. But this is a back-to-back, so I think they were cautious. They lost by 60 points, 50 something, and they were down by 61. So I guess they didn't really even try to play today.
And Draymond didn't play.
Draymond did not play. Just for a sore thing. And again, killed DFS owners because they did not announce it even. He was still even in the starting lineup, or he was still in the bench and just did not play.
This is the type of games wherein you would feel that the Warriors are really not into it this season.
They're not into
it. I don't think they really want to get into that playoffs. I don't think they're really fighting.
Yes, agree.
To be there. I think they feel that this is a lost season for them without Clay. And yeah,
and
that's the probably the most scary part about Steph Curry's fantasy value moving forward.
And Draymond Green said he's not gonna be playing for play-in games. He said, "I don't like to play in games. I'm not motivated for that." And Steve Kerr had to come out and try to explain what Draymond was saying and saying, no, we're gonna play to win. We want to win, even if it's a play-in tournament. We're there to win. It sounded like a politician here in the Philippines, trying to save, their boss's asses when they say something stupid. And I think that is the similar situation here in Golden State. They're not trying to win. It's obvious right now. They're just trying to go through the motions and probably enter the lottery. Make sure they enter the lottery. That's what I'm sensing from the Warriors. There was no fight today, losing by 60 points to a struggling Raptors team.
There's really no excuse for losing it for that big.
So Jeremy's correct. If you own Draymond, if you own Steph Curry, it's kind of worry time, kind of danger time for you guys, because they could easily just let them rest for a lot of games so that to make sure they will lose a lot of games. So this is not the same with Fred VanVleet. The injury of Fred VanVleet is a hip flexor.
On the flip side, Fred VanVleet got injured as well today.
And that is not a minor injury. Although it was a rout, so he did not come back or try to come back. But hip flexor, for our listeners, is the same injury as Lonzo Ball's injury. So
that can be another dangerous injury that could cost you your fantasy season.
According to medical people, it's either good or bad. I mean, it can just be okay after a couple of days of rest, or it could linger on like what is happening to Lonzo Ball. So just be prepared. Malachi Flynn would probably be someone to add here, because I think they're out Lowry, they're out Fred VanVleet, so they don't have a point guard, and Flynn is the next point guard up, so he should be getting the starting position if VanVleet won't be able to play.
And similar, coincidentally, this is Toronto is in a similar spot with
Golden State.
Yes. Right? They are outside the playoff position, or just within that play-in tournament slot. And really for them, another no incentive to get into that playoffs. They would rather want to let go of the season and get into the lottery and get a rookie and so on.
Actually, the problem with the Raptors is they're losing so bad, but they're just 2 games away from the play-in tournament. It's like a reward that seems to be always dangling in front of you. Like you don't want it, but it just keeps on following you. So there's a chance they might go for it. Compared to Golden State.
Yeah, I mean Golden State is 10th currently.
Yeah, but they don't want it.
And yeah, they don't want it. And I'm not even sure the teams below them would want it as well. Maybe
Sacramento wants it. Yeah, Sacramento wants it.
So we'll see. But these two teams are probably in the same situation, so we have to be wary of the situation with Steph Curry and Fred VanVleet. So hopefully your team is strong enough to be able to sustain or at least carry on without these players for a few games.
Can I give a tip right now to our listeners?
Yeah.
It's officially the rest season. It's officially rest season. So if it's back-to-back, I think you have to be very, 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 very aware of back-to-backs right now. A lot of players will rest. And as much as possible, try to add, maximize your ad drops. Maximize your ad drops right now. From this week on, maximize it. Don't think that, it's okay. I'll just, I have 8 players today, so it might be okay. expect at least one or two of those players to rest. It's a back-to-back. So maximize your ad drops. Look for back-to-backs in the waiver wire that you can add one move for 2 games. Try to do it now.
Yep, and that's the time. It's and for a lot of the leagues, trade deadline has passed. For some, it's until next week. So once that passed as well, it would be a game of ad drops already, and the players who can maximize the ad drops would have an advantage moving on. To the fantasy playoffs. All right, let's talk about some big risers. Of course, with all these injuries, there are players who will emerge, and let's talk about bigger name players first. Not really but most of these names are not in the top level of fantasy, the fantasy leagues, or they're not within the top 3-4 rounds that were picked. Robert Williams, again, back on our big risers.
Well, I have a question for you. Robert Williams was picked in the same draft as DeAndre Ayton. Looking at it fantasy only, in fantasy perspective only, would you pick Robert Williams higher next year than DeAndre Ayton? Given the same situation, I mean, Boston will start him. They will announce he's a starter. Would you pick him over Ayton? Ayton was picked first.
Yes. I think the upside is a lot.
Okay.
And he is not going to kill you in any stats, right? He has good field goal percentages. He isn't a bad free throw shooter. He isn't a volume free throw shooter as well. So even if he missed a few, that should be fine. He's not the type of center who would give you 8-9 free throw attempts, so that's good. He can defend consistently, and that scoring isn't really his thing. So I probably just get my scoring elsewhere, right?
So you'd pick him over DeAndre Ayton?
Yeah, probably. I think after this year, DeAndre Ayton would fall off the draft rankings. I don't see him being placed or in that second round projection.
No, agree. He won't be in the second round. But Robert Williams might be the Christian Wood this year.
Yep.
In the drafts. So another name to remember aside from Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
Well, I'm pretty sure a lot of our fantasy managers would remember his name, Time Lord or Robert Williams. He has been really good this season, and
he almost had a triple-double a while ago.
Yep.
That was a surprise.
He had 9 rebounds, 8 assists, and he shot 9 out of 9 from the field. So and he had a couple of blocks, I think, and
1 steal, 2 blocks,
1 steal, and 0 turnovers. So perfect stat line for Robert Williams. So congratulations. Another player emerging, another veteran. Let's talk about a couple of veterans here. Eric Bledsoe and Thad Young. Bledsoe, for obvious reasons, there's really no one in the Pelicans who are playing. Like we said yesterday, I think he played 45 minutes. And given that he's an old guy, 45 minutes is a lot for a veteran like Eric Bledsoe. Today,
and Bledsoe, 31 minutes. Yeah, Bledsoe, for DFS owners or players, they know that he's coming along fine because of the injuries with New Orleans, and I think he can continue 14 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Nothing special, but considering where he came from, I mean, considering that he probably was picked up from the free agency on the waiver wire,
especially during that stretch where he was struggling and many managers already dropped him.
But remember, if Lonzo suddenly comes back, then he's probably gonna return to the waiver area. But right now, he just use him. And Thad Young, I'm so happy I was able to pick up Thad Young in one of our leagues with Jeremy. In our Dynasty League there, I was able to pick him up. Somebody dropped him. And we told you not to worry about Vucevic's entry in Chicago because Thad Young is perfect with Vucevic. And he's a stud.
Yeah. Thad Young, given the minutes, he is a stud. He has, he can contribute anywhere.
Yes.
And probably the only knack for Tad Young is his free throws, but he doesn't shoot much, so that would be tolerable for many fantasy managers. So aside from Eric Bledsoe and Tad Young, we also have Bogdan Bogdanovic, who has been here for the past few games already because of today, though Trae Young did play.
Yeah, it's Holy Week, so I have to really have a sacrifice and hurt myself also because as I said, I dropped him, so I have to keep on putting him here to make me remember what the mistakes I did, so that I'll be forgiven. The Hawks are also depleted, and as I said yesterday, the good thing about Bogdanovic right now, he's the secondary. That's why Huerter had a good game today. Yep. But Trae Young was gone. Was not playing.
Yep.
So I dismiss that. I don't think that's something is sustainable. But Bogdanovic is going to be their secondary ball handler and creator, and it shows in his assists. He's averaging 6 points something assists the past 2 to 3 games, which is perfect, which is good.
And hopefully you were able to snag your Bogdanovic. Again, another player, just same with Bledsoe and Tad Young. Most likely these players were picked up from the waiver wire. So if you were able to pick them up just in time for during these times, then congratulations. How about some younger players? Now let's talk about Kyle Kuzma, who has been benefiting a lot now. And we talked about him the other day, comparing him to Michael Porter.
Okay.
It's still not close maybe because Porter has been playing really well. And
it's
he contributes
not Porter.
in a lot
maybe you can compare him to Bogdan. Maybe Bogdan. Right?
Yeah, maybe closer to... No. Because Bogdan has the rebounding and the assist. I don't think Kuzma would have good assist numbers. And Bogdan has the steals. I don't know which comparison we would make for Kuzma, but he has been playing really well. 30 points today.
Actually, I will compare him to Caris LeVert in a way. Caris LeVert is somehow more overrated than he should be. He's rated higher than he should be. And Kyle Kuzma is rated lower than he should be.
Mm-hmm.
But they're actually very, very close right now. With no LeBron. I'm saying with no LeBron. They're actually close. LeVert, maybe because of the cancer story, maybe because of the everything, like how he came back this year, so people love him. But if you look at the performance of LeVert in Indiana, it's okay. I mean, nothing really special.
Nothing that would wow you or make him trend within the fantasy forums.
Kyle Kuzma has actually been as late as maybe end of March. I was still seeing him in some FAs, some waiver wires. So I don't like him. I don't like his fantasy skill set also as much as LeVert. But what they have is the opportunity. And Kuzma is rebounding very well. I don't know how Drummond is going to affect him, but Drummond's toe is still gross right now. So we are still
definitely the rebounding would be affected. But
the
4 or 5 rebounds per game would be feasible for Kyle Kuzma. I think the reason why Kuzma is ranked quite low because he doesn't contribute much. Other than maybe the rebounding and the scoring and the 3.
Well, he did not contribute much in rebounding before, but since LeBron, and this year in general, and since LeBron went down with the injury, his rebounding has actually been very high. That's why he has entered standard league territory already, and his 3-pointers is also there. So
and really,
I hope it doesn't affect him.
There's really no one there in the Lakers to score. Other than maybe Schroeder. Harrell maybe, but Harrell is really more of a off-the-ball scorer. You have to set him up. He's really not a creator. So probably there's just 2 creators out there, Kuzma and Schroeder. And Kuzma is probably, slowly becoming a scorer really for the Lakers. 2 players let's move on to two young players. Players we've already mentioned a lot of times before, even before they got hot, just because they are in OKC and they are part of the gold mine that is OKC in fantasy value. Theo Maledon and Alexei Pokusevsky. Maledon has played well. Today he had 33 points, 5 threes, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists and a steal. Pokusevsky had 20 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. So yeah, there.
And I think the Thunder has finally found the right formula in their tanking. They have officially removed everybody who could really help them win. Fantasy-wise, these two are winners, but in real life, Maledon and Pokusevsky are making a lot of mistakes. And of course, they're rookies. So expecting them to be your 1-2 punch would just mean you're going to be blown out. And which is perfect for their fantasy outlook, because when they get blown out, the games won't be as close or as pressure-packed. They could just play freely, and their stats will improve, like what happened today. In the first quarter, they were down by 25 points already. That game was basically over right then and there.
Yep.
And
although they were against the Phoenix Suns, which blows out a lot of teams.
Yes. But Maledon right now should be added everywhere. Pokusevsky should be added everywhere. Dort is out. SGA is out. Baisley is out. They're gonna have I don't care about the percentages right now. I just need the stats, given all the rests and the injuries. I'm gonna take stats wherever I can. So you should add him. Add both. Yeah.
Should we worry about Moses Brown?
No, this is expected. I mean, you can't expect a G League player to be a 20-10 guy every game. And this is against Phoenix. Yeah. So the matchup wasn't really nice or good for him. So it's okay.
So some managers might be worried about Moses Brown, but we expect something like this. The 2020 game, we know he won't be able to sustain that definitely. But let's see. Hopefully, he gets a favorable matchup next. So those are our big risers. And again, these players may not be the top tier players that we talked about mostly, but for now, with the way things are going, with the rest, with the injuries that have brought down some of the big names, these players could win you your leagues simply because they were bought in cheap, right? You didn't get them in a draft, or you didn't really trade them for a player who has a top level player. So you just picked them up. You were just fast enough to pick them up, so that they might help you moving forward. Other players that might also help you moving forward: Jalen Brunson of Dallas, Lou Williams, and Denzel Valentine. 3 names. Lou Williams, let's talk about Lou Williams first. Lou Williams played more minutes today, maybe because Trae Young was out.
Yes, maybe because it's because Trae Young was out. But yesterday we just talked about him. I said it's my own gamble pick. It's my own speculative pick. I just thought of it and I said there's just nobody there in Atlanta right now that can handle the ball aside from Trae Young. And I don't expect Trae Young to be rested a lot of times. He just had a sore knee because it was a double overtime the day before, so that was expected. But even with Trae Young playing, Lou Williams, as I said, he could easily average double figures with a couple of assists and threes. And a steal. He's a good steals guy. So I think he should be added in 14-team leagues again.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Lou Williams is actually available in a lot of leagues.
Yes.
Teams don't trust him yet, but if you are holding on to a player who hasn't really been performing but has had name value over the past few weeks, maybe it's time to gamble a little bit on Lou Williams. And it's not going to be a big gamble, because if that's your last man in your roster, he probably won't be as consistent as well. Jalen Brunson is another guy who is up and down in his game, but now he has been up. He has been dropped in a lot of leagues.
It's my fault that we haven't talked about Jalen Brunson yet. We should have talked about him 3 or 4 games earlier. Yep. Right now, 16 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds a game, and 1.2 threes the past 6 games. As Jeremy said, he's up. I don't know when the down will come, but
the good thing is he has been up he played well today with Luka there. I think over the past few games, there were some missed games by Luka wherein that's where he started getting hot once again, or his name being.
He's very similar to Shake Milton, you know.
Yep.
They just.
Although Shake Milton right now is playing really well.
Yes, Shake Milton is also playing well. These guys, you just have to time their hot streak perfectly. And right now, this is their time. So you get them and then, use as much as you can. And when the time comes that they fall out of standard league value again, then you drop them right away.
Mm-hmm. And the last player for waiver wire special, Denzel Valentine from the Chicago Bulls. He had 12 points.
The Troy Brown thing that will not work out. It looks like Denzel Valentine is the guy that, Billy Donovan trusts.
Markkanen played 22 minutes. Would you rather own Valentine or Markkanen at this point?
I'm going to be hard-headed.
That's how low Markkanen is being compared to right now.
No, I'm hard-headed. I'm going to go Markkanen. If it's Denzel Valentine, okay, I'm going to go Markkanen. But if it's maybe ask me somebody else, I might go with that person. Like, they asked me Jaden McDaniels the other day. Maybe, I may go McDaniels right now over Markkanen.
Another player in Chicago who has really fallen off after the trade is Kobe White.
Yes. He has not become the sixth man that we thought he could be. So that's the example of name value. Maybe Jalen Brunson, maybe Lou Williams, maybe these guys we just talked about over Kobe White right now. Yeah,
definitely.
I mean, you'll say, hey, but it's my 8th round pick. Hey, he's like owned 60-70%, but that doesn't matter anymore. Yep. I mean, it won't give you any wins in fantasy.
And the trend, if you look at the trend is really not good for Kobe White. He has been
so far.
He hasn't really played good games. I mean, a string of good games. He may have had 1 or 2 good games, but he doesn't have that week wherein you could say that Kobe White played well this week.
Agree. Similar to Markkanen. I mean, Markkanen had a good game because he started for Lavine for that the other day.
Yeah, but
outside of that,
well, at least Markkanen's production, you can still tolerate probably as your 13th guy or your 12th guy in the roster.
Yeah.
I mean, not Kobe White has been not good. I mean, throughout the season. I mean, Markkanen somehow gives you a good game or two here, which makes it actually harder for fantasy managers because
to drop.
Yes. So,
but we've talked about Kobe White before. We have talked about his very empty stats.
Yep.
Right. We've talked about it, so they should not be surprised that right now that he's not even starting anymore.
And maybe what's worse for him is that Chicago is a playoff contender, and they would want to get into that playoffs for sure.
Yeah. And just to add, Nikola Vucevic has been struggling with Chicago also. I think people haven't noticed that yet, but managers, I'm sure of Vucevic, has noticed that. Mm-hmm. So I said yesterday that maybe you could trade Embiid for Vucevic. I think the window is still open. The window is still open, especially Embiid is coming back tomorrow or Monday. So I think you should try it right now if you want to move on from Embiid, or if you want to snag Vucevic maybe for some other players, because now is the time. There's a buy low window here.
All right. Other players in our Markkanen and Kobe White are part of our players we worry about. Or
yes,
Kobe White is probably a drop right now. I don't think you should still be holding on to him. There are a lot of good players out there. Jalen Brunson is out there. We talked about some streamers that you could use, gamble on maybe and give you a good game or two.
Maledon.
Maledon's probably has been added for a bunch of leagues already. Most of the leagues he has.
They just added him now before our recording. Still available.
So there are still a lot who are. I've seen Terrence Mann still on the waiver wire.
Maybe
Terrence could be a better option than Kobe White.
Agree. Yes.
Kyra Lewis
Yeah,
still there
that's our
because
next.
people don't know him.
Yeah,
that's probably a deeper type league, but still better than Kobe.
Oh, we
White.
did not mention the players that would benefit for Josh Hart. Kyra Lewis and James Johnson.
Yep.
There's
James
another
Johnson
player
who was acquired recently.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are still a lot out there. You could stream players like Alex Len, who might give you a block or two, right? I mean,
we're officially in that season where Jeremy can already say the name of Alex Len as an ad.
This is a streamer.
I mean, you would never say that early on.
I see them playing better than maybe Kobe White right now, and he hasn't really contributed much. So there's still a lot of players out there. You can add. All right, other players. We worry about Enes Kanter. Of course, we expect this. We kind of expected this with Nurkic coming back.
Who did they played against Milwaukee? So they played against Milwaukee and he played 12 minutes only, I think, today. Did not score. So if it happens again, I'm expecting a lot of Canters in the waiver wire, and I'm very excited for that because I want to add him if people drop him. Because I think it's a fluke. It's a matchup thing. Maybe Giannis is not really a perfect matchup for him. Brook Lopez is just a spot-up shooter. So Kanter is not really perfect in that matchup. But if he was dropped, I'm sure in some of your leagues he was already dropped. I'm sure. So if that happens, pick him up.
There's still no one dropping Kanter in my league, so we'll probably wait for that. Kelly Oubre has been here in our worrying players list a lot of times. I'm not sure if he can really salvage the season. He has been a disappointment this season, I think.
Only because we have a lot of expectations for him.
Yeah,
I mean,
and without Steph, without Draymond.
I agree. But my point is like this, Jeremy. If I just tell you that Kelly Oubre is averaging 1.4, 5 steals, 0.8 blocks, 1.2 threes, and only 1 turnover a game, maybe you'll take it, right? But I think you're correct. You're saying, well, Steph missed a lot of games. There's no Clay, there's no Dre. Dre struggled early on. So maybe we expected much more than that from Kelly Oubre, right? I think that's where the disconnect lies.
Yeah, and he has fallen off maybe to the level of Wiggins. Those two players probably on the same boat right now. Wiggins, though, we don't have a lot of expectations on Wiggins. Well, right?
I wonder why.
Yeah, when Wiggins was hot, we weren't surprised he fell off after that, right? He was hot for a few games, right? Yeah. But when Oubre was hot, he was playing well at some point this season. We expected him to continue that. And right now, they're probably on the same boat. They're probably on the struggling
maybe
boat.
As Phoenix Sun fan Aaron Ataide just said, he's just not that good. I mean, maybe. That's just how it is. That's just how to explain it.
Or maybe it's just not a good fit. I don't even know if it's a good fit.
Should be. I mean, he's athletic, who can shoot, right?
Because the Warriors have been really bad this year. But yeah, with Kelly Oubre, definitely there. You probably won't drop him because he's Kelly Oubre. But hey, I'm pretty sure later on during fantasy playoffs, he's gonna be dropped at some point if he hasn't been performing and you need that.
Kuzma over Oubre.
Yep, definitely right now. All right, Ricky Rubio, the last of our players we worry about. Ricky Rubio, the veteran, he was out today
with a back issue, and the Wolves are not going anywhere. They would want
this
to
is
see,
where we should be worried about Rubio because there are a lot of young players.
D'Lo is coming back supposedly. Well, I don't know if it's gonna be a Jaren Jackson thing also, that he's just gonna say I'm back, but I'll never come back. But Anthony Edwards is playing a lot of point guard now with Beasley there. So Rubio kinda in the danger zone also. Hey, Jeremy, Jaren Jackson said he's feeling good in an interview, and he's definitely gonna be back this month. Then I thought, hey, it's only April 3. So, but anyway, he's gonna be back this month. So at least it's April.
Oh my goodness. He has been playing good for what, 3 months now? He's been feeling good for 3 months.
The reporter was very brave because they confronted him. They asked him, what happened to your January 25 thing that you said, hey, I'm just gonna come back soon and anything. But Jaren Jackson took it well. He said, that's over, that's the past. But now I really feel good. So we didn't get a real answer from him. But anyway.
We'll see. Lots of managers really holding on to Jaren Jackson. Hopefully, you will be rewarded, whether it's the playoffs or
the consolation round.
Yeah, or maybe a slot the playoffs.
No, maybe your consolation round matchup. He's gonna win it for you guys.
So. Yeah, so we'll see about that. All right, that's it for our daily fantasy quickie. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. Hope you like the clips that we have been posting. We have some time because it's holiday here. Hopefully, we can continue posting those clips. If in case you missed some of the parts, some parts of the quickie. But yeah, thank you guys. We'll see you again tomorrow for another daily fantasy quickie. Bye.
Bye.